Hello everybody, this is our presentation on properties of water. There will be two parts to this video. The first one is just going to be on the properties of water molecule that allow life to be possible. And then the second video will talk about the main properties of life. So what we are going to learn is how do the properties of a water molecule make life possible. The picture shown here is actually water covering a person's hand in the absence of gravity. The reason this is able to happen is because of some special properties of water, namely surface tension, cohesion, and adhesion. Before we can learn about the properties of water, we need to know what water is and what its structure is. We should know that water is H2O. What you probably don't know is that it is a polar compound. A polar compound is a compound that has a charge. Just think about poles of north and south, negative and positive. Now, the key is that opposite charges attract. So this means one polar compound can bond to another polar compound. The only polar compound we care about right now is water. So draw this on your paper. What we have here is a diagram of a water molecule. If you look at the periodic table, you'll notice that hydrogen is atomic number 1. This means it has one proton and one electron, and it is relatively small on the scale of everything being small, small, small. So this right here is a hydrogen, and this, of course, over here would be a hydrogen. That leaves our other molecule being oxygen. Now, there is a covalent bond that connects the oxygen and hydrogen molecules on this side and on this side. Now, you may remember from physical science that a covalent bond is a bond in which electrons are shared. This is a very strong bond. Now, the electrons are shared, but they are not shared equally. Since oxygen is so much larger than hydrogen, but again, we're talking about molecules, so very, very tiny for everything, oxygen is actually going to pull the electrons towards it. So that means that there is a slight negative charge near the oxygen. Then that would mean that the hydrogens are going to have a slight positive charge. This is not opposite charges like we would talk about the ionic bonds. It just means electrons are more likely to be found around the oxygen than the hydrogen. Now we need to add some more details to this idea. So again, we have negative charges where the oxygen is, a positive on the hydrogen end. Now, if you were to have an actual cup of water, you would have more than one water molecule, like trillions. So whenever the water molecules are close to each other, well, the negative and the positive are going to attract to each other. This forms a weak bond. That's why we always draw it with dotted lines. This weak bond is called a hydrogen bond. Now, the covalent bond is still the bond that's going to connect all our water molecules together. So let's officially define a hydrogen bond. It is a weak temporary bond between polar compounds. Again, right now we're worried about water, but please know there are other polar compounds that exist and some that will be important to biology through the year. And this is everything we need to